Good morning, everyone. Now we are going to discuss the current affairs section from the DSTIS. It's from the November month, and our third topic is international internationalization of Indian higher education. So, in the current time, we can see a number of universities are coming to India and they are opening their campus in the Indian land. So, first of all, we'll understand that why uh, this is growing, right? Why the international uh, why the international universities are opening their branches, their campuses in India, and what will be the its implications, and what will be the implications, right? So let's start with it. So we have the news that 17 foreign universities, mainly from the UK and Australia, have received approval to set up campuses in India under the UGC regulation, UGC 2023 regulations. This move aligns with the national education policy and comes amid growing demand for the quality higher education in India. So the news was that the 17 foreign universities, which are mainly from the UK and Australia, they have received the approval from the UGC to set up their campuses in India. Why? Because there is growing demand. First thing is that why the UGC has given the approval, because it will fulfill the UGC new education policy demands, uh, which uh, which basically emphasizes on the creative learning as well as innovative learning, right? And another thing is that it will basically bring the quality education in India, right? So considering these factors, in addition to this, there are a number of factors which are contributing to the growing demand of international higher educations. Basically, the various institutes should come in India. So let's start with it. So coming to the next thing, that India's effort to advance the partnership in higher education. So how India is making an effort to bring the international institutions in India. So we have the first thing is that we have the new education policy, as we are, just saw that the new education policy basically emphasizes on the on the principles of access, equity, quality, affordability, and accountability. And new education policy 2020 aims to establish India as a global education hub. So basically, under the new education policy, India is aspiring to become the global education hub. So India is also trying that the foreigners, so they should come into India. Though even at the even in the current scenario, we can see a number of foreigners are coming to India. Basically, they are coming from the African countries and Afghanistan, Bhutan, Bangladesh. So these countries, these students from these countries are coming into India, and they are studying the various institutes, IITs, NITs, and the various central universities like JNU and the BHU. So we can see at these places that the various students from various countries are coming, and and they are basically becoming the part of the education system. So first thing is this one. Now, apart from this, so in that way, if the international institutions come into India and they set up their campuses, so obviously the India will become the global education hub, and even the foreigners from the other countries, from the developed countries as well, who are going to study in the Australia and UK, they may come if they are not getting admission there. So obviously they will come to India. So in that way, the India will become the global education hub. Another thing is that we have seen that from the IQ University report that Q University, Q ranking university, university ranking, that the India's many universities of India are not having the place even the top 100, and this is the quite gap that shows a quite gap in the Indian higher education system, and that makes it unattractive to the students from the foreign countries. So in that scenario, that if we have the international institutions, if they come into India and they have their campuses, and so this will basically attract the not only the quality and innovation in the learning system, but it will also bring the competitiveness, and in other institutions or other indigenous institutions, they will also try to become more competitive and more they will emphasize on uh, more quality educations, right? So that will be there. Another thing that we see, that India's effort in new education policy, new education vision, which is basically emphasized on the four principles, that is access, equity, quality, and affordability, and accountability. And this aim to bring the India as a global education hub. Next, we have the UGC regulations 2023 to operationalize the new education policy 2020 vision. UGC is setting up operation and campuses of foreign higher education institutions in India. Regulation 2023 was enacted, permitting top-ranked foreign higher education institutions to establish campuses in India. So this is the either, right. So we have the new education policy. Second thing is that UGC regulations, which is basically emphasizing that the top 100 institutions should come into India, and they should set up their branches, right. Another thing is that, what is that, this one the criteria basically. So which not any university will come, right. So there is certain criteria that only top 500 QS world ranking, QS world university ranking universities can open their campuses in India, right. So this is the uh, criteria here. Another thing we have, these institutions are mandated to maintain same academic standards, curricula, and degree equivalence as their parent campus abroad. So another thing is that, first thing we saw that in the QS World ranking, QS World University ranking, that they must have been placed under 500. Another thing is that they should have the same academic standards and curricula as they are having in their own countries, right? If certain universities is having curricula in the UK or Australia. So the similar curricula as well as the degree of equivalence and academic standards should also be brought in the India. So we can see that even the recently we have the IITs, and they are opening their campuses in the Saudi Arabia and the Tanzania. So they are opening their campuses there. So that quality of the IITs should also be maintained, will also be maintained in the foreign lands. So similarly, we are also demanding that if the any uh, foreign higher education institutions are opening their campuses, they must have the same academic standards, same standards of curricula, and the degree of equivalence uh, as their parent uh, university abroad. So this is there. Another thing is that they are granted operational autonomy, including flexibility in faculty recruitment, both Indian and foreign, and are not bound by the existing fee caps application to the Indian universities. So obviously we are making the attractive, right. If we make the land or attractive to these institutions, so they will basically come to India. So for that matter, we have the operational autonomy. We are giving that, as in India, many universities, many, not miss all the universities and universities are controlled or regulated by the UGC. But the foreign university, foreign higher education institutions, if they open their campuses, so they are being given the operational autonomy, including that they have the faculty recruitment, right. So here the faculty recruitment are through the UGC, but in the foreign higher education institutions, they are given the flexibility uh, to recruit the faculty from the both Indian and the abroad. And even they are not limited by the, means, in the higher education institutions. If you see in Indian universities, the fee caps are there, right. If you go to the central university like BHU, so there will be fee will be lower side. But if you go to the new universities, so definitely the fee will be higher side. So due to the infrastructure and the ability of the funds, and this is there. there. But in case of the foreign higher education institutions, if they open their campuses in India, so obviously there will not be any fee caps, and this will basically make them attractive because they can make money here, right? So, and also since they are opening their universities here, if they initially, if they started with the limited fees, obviously they cannot have the funds, and any university does not want to come up with the invest so much funds without any profits. So to make sure that these campuses make their profit as well, we have not kept any fee caps, right? So this is there. Another thing, so we saw about this high Indian, why, how the India's effort is making, how India is making effort to advance the partnership in higher education. So first we saw in the terms of the new education policy, which is emphasizing on the five principles, that is access, equality, quality, affordability, and accountability, and which basically means to make India as a global education hub. And for that matter, we have the UGC regulations 2023, and which is basically complementing the new education policy, and inviting the top ranked foreign higher education institutions from the QS World Ranking. If they are having the rank below 500, so they can open their branches or campuses in India. And another thing is that they have been given the freedom to recruit the uh, faculties from the both foreign and the Indian. And another thing is that they are also uh, not capped with the fees. And fourth thing is, you can see that the government is emphasizing that if the foreign universities come into India, so they must have the same curricula, same academic standards, and degree of equivalence as they have in the foreign land. So now coming to the factors driving foreign universities to establish campuses in India. So why means So now coming to the factors driving the foreign universities to establish campuses in India. So why the foreign universities are basically coming to India. So first thing is that demand surge for the quality higher education. So first thing, uh, demand search for quality higher educations. As you can see that India's economy is developing, even the standard of living of the people are developing, and the middle class people basically they prefer to have the foreign degree, right? And so they are investing crores of rupees and going abroad and getting the degree on a various subjects, right? So so if this is the kind of surge in the demands, so obviously the foreign universities, like you can see that recently in India, that some of the institutes like coaching institutes, which are mostly confined to the quota, now they are coming up into the various cities, right? Allen, PW, and another like Bansal, Allen, Resonance. So they are initially they were operating in the quota. Now they are coming to the different uh, states, different cities, and this shows that since the very university, that very coaching which is operating on in the quota, it cannot meet the demands, there are a number of students coming to the quota. So since demands of their coaching has increased, and since they have the limited resources there, so they are coming up with the new branches in the different cities, and they are trying to provide the same quality of education, same kind of material, under same environment, uh, the tuitions are coachings to the students. So similarly, since the demands for the foreign higher education is increasing in the middle class, so that's why the foreign institutions are willing to operate in India. So this is the one of the thing. Another thing is that this is there. Now next coming to the supportive policy environment. Um, in the last decades, we have the education, national education policies, which we are not at not promoting the innovations. This were like they are promoting innovations, but not that much of qualities, right? So, but in the new education policy, basically in the era of IT, information technology, this has got tremendous impetus, and the new education policy basically emphasizes on the innovation and research, and for that matter, the support of the foreign higher education institutions is necessary, and that's why India is also inviting. So, supporting policy environment like new education policy, promote the internationalization of education, inviting top global. This is there, okay. So, first thing is that demand search. Second thing is the support of policy environment, that new education policy, and third is declining international student. Recent data shows recent data shows that sharp decline in the Indian student abroad due to stricter immigration policies, including the restriction of foreign students bringing dependent and other major studios immigrations and use in the UK, US, and Canada. So we can see recently the students going abroad is decreasing. First thing is that this is not only the region. There are number of regions that you can see that the global conflicts as is rising day by day. Uh, so these tensions are basically discouraging the students going abroad. So since they are discouraged, so they are not going to the abroad for study matters. And first thing, second thing is that the immigration policies nowadays in the UK or even the various countries are having revising their immigration policies due to the number of regions. Basically, you can see that post COVID-19, there are the many of the countries are undergoing severe distress. Their economy is under the distress situation, and they are coping up with. And since the resources are limited, so obviously they cannot afford to the foreign students. So in that scenario, they are having the stricter strict uh, strict norms of if immigration of immigrations, and that's why there is decline of the Indian students in the foreign universities, and so that's why the foreign university higher education institutions are coming to India. Another thing is that diversification of revenue. Now these universities are having a lot of funds, and since there is a stagnation in their economy of their own country, so they want to diversify the revenues into the or make investment to attract to in the university itself, to open new branches, new campuses, and attract a student, and they can obviously that from the money they will make money. So this is there. So they are basically diversifying their revenues. Another thing is a strategic global partnership. India is very ambitiously engaging with the various countries and to promote innovations and research, and that's for that matter, these research institutes are also coming forward, and they are trying to cooperate India for support India, and that's why these higher education institutions are opening their branches in India. So we saw 3 to 4 regions. You can see we can first thing we saw that first we saw that the rise of income, right, rise of middle class in India. So demand for the foreign higher education institution definitely will increase. Second thing that policy regulations is right. UGC is the norms for the norms basically through the new education policy, that the foreign higher education institutions can open their campuses in India due to their that they are having the freedom to recruit their own staffs, and another thing that they will maintain the same curricula. There is no fee caps. So all these things are making attractive to the foreign higher education institutions to open campuses in India. Second, third thing is that that immigration policies, that is strict immigration policies discouraging students from India to go abroad for study matter, and so the higher education institutions are opening their campuses. Another thing is that diversification of revenue, since the lockdown, since the post COVID-19 lockdown, number of countries are number of countries economies are under this stress condition as well as in the stagnation, and so the foreign higher education institutions are trying to invest their money in the new lands where they can make funds, and that is another region. Now, and the last but not the least, the strategic global partnership. India is engaging with the various higher education institutions as well as the countries for innovations and research, and for this support, these higher education institutions are coming into India. So this is there. For instance, we have the UK India Education Research Initiative to promote the bilateral students faculty and exchange. So what will be the its implications? Implications is very important that we have to understand that what will be this impact on implications. First thing is that global competitiveness. So since the foreign universities introduce global curricula, teaching standards and quality assurance, elevating India's academic ecosystem while attracting innovation and research funding. So first thing is that we can see there will be a global competitiveness in terms of research, curricula, as well as standards, academic standards. So if we have the foreign universities in India, so obviously that competitiveness will increase for the other universities as well. Second thing is that brain drain. It will help to curb the brain drain. Highly skilled talent aspirants may not now stay in India due to the massive annual outflow of billions of dollars spent on studying abroad. So first thing is the global competitiveness. Second thing is that curbing the brain drain. As you can see, highly skilled students are going abroad for the study matters, and obviously we have to pay in the dollars only. So there is outflow of foreign currencies, that is foreign assets or forex. So this will be called, so India's economy will definitely boost. So in that current scenario you can see that India's rupee is falling, and it is said that India is second largest importer of gold, and if we are importing gold, so we are paying in the dollars. Around it is, if I can say that after China, that is importing around 847 tons of gold, but India second largest, it is importing around 804 tons of gold. So thing is that if we are importing, so if we are importing the gold, so we have to pay in the dollars, and if we pay in the dollars, so that means demand of the dollar is increasing, and the demand of the dollar increasing, the value of the or Indian rupee will decrease, and that circumstances we are or economy weaken, right? So this is the matter that if we apply here, that if the demands of the higher education institution will increase, so we have to where our students will go abroad, and from for that matter we have to pay the forex, and that's why if we have the low forex and the demands of the forex like dollars increases, so our Indian rupee will weaken. So in that matter we can see that it will help to curb the brain drain as well as enhance the Indian forex, right? And massive annual outflow, which is billions of dollars that is which is spent on the studying abroad. Another thing is systemic improvement. So the presence of foreign universities will drive Indian institutions to innovate, enhance quality and competitiveness, while their governance model, industry academic linkage can serve as a blueprint for systemic reform. Same thing is there. Okay, fourth thing we can see alignment with the national goals. So in the current scenario we can see that India is emphasizing on research on artificial intelligence, right? Biotechnologies, and make in India, digital India initiative has been introduced to promote innovation, and in that to complement to support these initiatives, if the foreign higher education institutions are set up which where uh, who are good at these fields, right? Who are good in the artificial intelligence and digital technologies, or other fields of research. So they will definitely bring a lot of skills to the Indian educated uh, youths, and definitely they will contribute to the this our uh, these are policies like Make in India and Digital India programs. Another thing is that it will also foster a diverse and cosmopolitan academic environment. As we can see that foreign higher education institutions will also attract the students from the foreign lands, especially from the major or developed countries like UK, Australia, Japan, South Korea. So if these students will be coming to India, so we can say that they will become the brand ambassador, that they will become the Indian brand ambassador of Indian culture in their land, and that with the kind of soft power diplomacy, that they will become the part of soft power diplomacy. And fifth thing is that affordable international degree. And since the students are going abroad and they are investing a lot of money, around, you can see that 13 to 14 lakh of rupees are paid for the undergraduate programs. But if they are, that is there, so you can see that if we are studying abroad, so there are a lot of expenses which involve the flight cost, it involves the fees, it involves the hostel charges, involves the residential cost. All these things are there, and food. But if you are having that university in our land, so it will be much cheaper than the foreign lands. So that will be there, that will make the international degree much affordable to the middle class families. So keeping this mind, that how, why the foreign higher education institutions are opening in India, what are the, so we have all talked about the policies, UGC regulations, freedom of opening, quality curricula, right? All these things are there. Fee caps, no fee caps. So these are making attractive for the foreign higher education institutions. And another thing is that we have the criteria. We talked about the criteria, and now we are having the implications. So implications is the global education hub. India will become the global education hub. Second thing is that it will promote the innovation and research. Third thing is that it will bring their standards and competitiveness with other universities. And fourth thing is that it will help to complement or support the national goals, like we are trying to bring innovation in the artificial intelligence or this other digital technologies or cutting edge technologies. And fifth thing is that it will make the higher education institutions more affordable. That will basically achieving the uh, international degrees, right? So all these things are there. So based on that, we can attempt this question: examine how new education policies and use regulation 2023 facilitate the internationalization of higher education in India, and assess their policy and implications. So these things are there, you can keep in mind, you can read there and write these answers. So that's all for today. Now we'll definitely talk about the nutrient-based subsidy scheme. This is very also important. This can be asked in the, if you are writing the mains, UPSC mains or BPSC mains. So these questions can be definitely asked. So you should prepare, definitely you should prepare this one. Or even if you are giving UPSC interview or BPSC interview. So I think that these are the most important questions if we talk about the education related questions, right? So for instance, if you are giving the UPSC mains or interview or BPSC interview, so they will ask about the foreign higher education institutions and what will be its implications, what will be their challenges in India. So those questions can be asked. So you must prepare this one. Now coming to the nutrient based subsidy scheme. So this I will discuss maybe tomorrow, right? So gradually we'll discuss, right? Because there are a number of topics, but I don't think that all topics are necessary. Topics which are necessary, I will definitely discuss, and I'm trying to give the sufficient time so that you can understand the topic well. And in addition to that, I can also give insights from my side, and also give the examples that make you understand these topics and make it more like living. As you can see that another platforms, they are just reading the topics, they are just telling, but I want that you cultivate the ideas, that how should we think. So this is their main motive of starting the current affairs program. And another thing is that if you see that daily different current affairs programs are going on, so obviously they are doing the good work. The thing is that the main aspect I think the missing is the analysis of those things. And analysis is basically understanding the scenario, which is basically linking it with the uh, various ways, various programs, right? So that should be interlinkages should be there. So, but in the current scenario, I can see that they are just reading the newspaper cuttings and explaining it, and that should not be there. It should open up your mind, and for that matter, I think this I'm trying to bring this current affairs initiatives, and that's all. That's all for today. And thank you so much. Have a nice day.